Hello, hello world. This is it's not Golden Heroes tonight. We're doing something different. So tonight we are doing. This is a game called Tales of Menace and Mystery, and we are playing an adventure that what I have concocted, called Menace on 34th Street. And obviously we've got Kevin, we've got Sarah Jane here, and Jason will be joining us shortly. And this game is something that I picked up earlier in the year. It's a pulp game. So pulp, I think we covered all this last time, but pulp being the genre of early 20th century adventure fiction printed on cheap paper. And as I say, this game is intended to replicate it or to simulate it. So one of my things I was going to say was I'm by no means an expert with this game. I've literally been. Hello, Jason. Nice to see.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Welcome.
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Sorry I'm late.
No, that's right. I was just waffling. Anyway, so I was just saying. So tonight we're doing Tales of Mystery and Menace, or Menace and Mystery. Even should get the title right, shouldn't I? So Jason, for you, if you look in the chat, there's first of all at the top that you'll see there's PDFs of your character sheet. So I think you wanted the spy. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. You can download your character sheet there, and then underneath that there is a link to the VTT that I've set up specifically, which is also called Menace on 34th Street. So when you get to that, hopefully you should see a splash screen. So as I say, the game is Tales of Menace and Mystery. It's a pulp adventure game, and so I will disclaimer up front. This adventure is just an idea I've had. And so I think we'll just crack on and see how we get on. As we've said, I may have to wrap things up a little bit early tonight because my wife's off in London at a party. So we'll see how we get on. But so basically, if you'd like to just have a look at your character sheet, so I'll give you a bit of technical what's it first of all, so we have some idea of what we're doing. So I'm looking at. Let's look at. I've got Kevin's character sheet up, but basically principle's the same. So as you can see, pre-generated characters, and down the left-hand side, you have some background information. So you have an archetype, which is the basic idea of your character. You have a zodiac sign because in this game, when characters are created, horoscope has some bearing on that, which doesn't affect you tonight, but just mention it. So when you're creating characters, some of your character traits come from your zodiac sign, and that's because apparently in the 1930s that was a very popular pastime. So I'll take their word for it. Obviously, a description of the character. So again, these are pre-gen. So again, I just roll with it. You've got there's a bit of description of what your character looks like, a bit of personality there. Some basic background, and then on the bottom left you've got career goals. So in the game you can see that you've got a track that runs from more selfish to more altruistic. So basically when your character is being created, this basically gives you a bit of an insight into the character's thinking. So as you can see, so in Kevin's case, the character's very much tending towards the more selfish side. So that might play into the way you can play the character. You also all have an advantage, which is a mechanical advantage. So again, Kevin's got a talent for hypnotism. You have a disadvantage, which again should lean into how you play the character. And then some of you may have a special talent. And then moving on to the middle section is where the stats are. So the way the game works, again, you have so the center section is what we call experience. And so when you can see that they're broken down into the top section. You've got your profession, which has got usually has 1 star, which is basically the number of dice that you roll. Then underneath that you have capabilities, and then underneath that you have specializations if you have any. And the way it works is that when you're deciding when you're going to do something, if you have an experience which you can apply, then you can use that. So for example, if you had in Kevin's case, he has a capability which is a 2nd level experience of history, which would give him 2 dice. So if he's attempting something and his experience is applicable, then he gets to roll those 2 dice. Otherwise, on the right hand side, you've got your attributes, and you can see that you've got 2 sets of attributes. You've got physique and you've got psyche. So physique is your physical attribute. So you can see that you have 3 attributes under your physique. So brawn, grit, and knack. And similarly under psyche, you've got wit, hunch, and poise. And again, the number of stars that are filled in are the number of dice that you have in that ability. Now, the bold type heading, so physique and psyche, they're basically an aggregate of your skill, your attributes. So in certain circumstances, you would use the physique as opposed to one of the individuals, and same with psyche. But again, the system uses D10s, and you essentially roll the number of D10s that the equivalent to the ability or attribute that you're using, and then you have to. I set a difficulty number, and then you basically, if you beat the number, you succeed. Simple as that, really. And pretty much all of the mechanics focus around that. And as I was saying, Jason, before you joined us, I'm not pretending to be an expert in this game. I've had it for a while, but I've skimmed it, and I've made a few notes, and we're sort of winging it. As I say, I'm not pretending this is going to be the most mechanically accurate version. And then if you look on the second side of the character sheet, you've also got if you have weapons, you've got weapons. So on Kevin's character sheet, he's got a knife, and there's some information there which will be applicable if you have to use them. So again, I think some of you have probably got. I'm pretty sure one of you at least has got a gun, possibly. You've got a rifle, yeah. I'm not sure about all of that.
Machine gun.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake. So I think in your case,
I think that's great.
You've got a pistol.
Are you a reporter? Or
I am.
She's a reporter.
And you've got a machine gun. I'm like, I've got to look at this.
I mean, even the spy has just got a pistol. So I think the reporter's you've probably got a pistol in your purse. It actually says, in fact, on possessions, it says, under the spy, it says possessions, pistol in purse. And I think similarly with the reporter, it probably says the same. So yeah, I think the whole machine gun thing's probably a bit of a mistake there. But
I was most excited about that, and I'll get over it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. And again, so right, so that's again, we're not going to worry too much about the stats. Again, we'll worry about it when we get to it. And so a little bit of setup. So the game is called Tales of Menace and Mystery, and Tales of Menace and Mystery is the name of essentially it's a magazine based in New York City. I believe the offices are based in the oh God, they're not. It's not in the Chrysler Building. It's in the Flatiron Building, a very distinctive building in New York. And basically, the magazine is the pet project of an eccentric millionaire called Stanley Leibovitz, who is obsessed with the occult and with the paranormal and with all things weird. And so he has basically set up a magazine, and he recruits people as roving reporters to go around and investigate the weird and the unusual. And obviously your characters are you're obviously quite a diverse bunch. And I suspect that again, you may. I think the assumption is that you know each other. Again, because this is just a one-off, we'll assume that you know each other and that you've just been that you're at least you're aware of each other from your time at the magazine, having been recruited for different reasons. And if you look on the VTT, I've just put up a map from the book, and you can see the Tales of Menace and Mystery office is right there near the East River in Manhattan. And there is another quick rough map of New York with a few of the major locations pinned in. So tonight is 2nd of December, 1937. And the occasion of you getting together is that you have been invited for various reasons to the Grand Ballroom on the 43rd floor of the Empire State Building. And the reason you are there is that the city's mayor, Mayor La Guardia, so a famous mayor, who was mayor for a number of years of New York, has just won re-election about a month prior, and is holding a big reception in this swanky ballroom on the 43rd floor of the Empire State Building. And basically, you have I'll just show you quickly. That's what Mayor La Guardia looks like, and so you are all arriving at the Empire State Building, and as you arrive, this is the entrance hall to the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building at this time has only been in operation for a few years, so it is in its finery, and it is an Art Deco masterpiece. I don't know if any of you have been to the actual Empire State Building. I have, and it's a very swanky place even now. And so, as basically out the front of the Empire State Building, various cars are turning up, and there are spotlights illuminating the night sky over downtown Manhattan. And New York's best and brightest are attending this function. Mayor La Guardia is a very popular and populist mayor. And again, anybody who's anybody in New York City has been trying to swing an invitation to this party, and for various reasons, you've managed to obtain one. So I know that I've just sprung this on you. So we'll go around, we'll look at your characters, and we'll try and figure out what you may be doing there. So I think first of all, Sarah Jane, I mean, your primary role is a reporter. Again, so it's pretty clear why you would be there. Again, this is everything. This is the social event of certainly of the month, if not the year. And so, again, you will have been invited. You will have received an invitation. And I don't know. Is there anything else you want to throw in there that would?
I don't think so, until I know more about what's going on. I imagine that Danielle, I'm just here to find out what's going on, see if I can pick up any juicy bits and bobs for my gossip columns, and hopefully snatch a scoop.
Perfect. So right, next up, so we've got Kevin. So you're playing Delilah Miller, who's a self-confessed mystic. She's probably in today's parlance, she's probably more of a psychologist, because her mystic ability is pretty much that she's a hypnotist. Although she clearly has some sort of interest in the occult. And again, as I say, the umbrella reason for all of you to be here is Tales of Menace and Mystery, which is this magazine. And it's probably likely that you've simply been put on retainer by this magazine in the past for various reasons. And again, you've received an invitation to attend. I guess maybe you could be looking for some wealthy clients. Again, pretty much anybody who's anybody is going to be at this party. So it may be that you can drum up a bit of business as well as mixing with the hoi polloi. So is there anything else you think that might be going on in Delilah's head at this point? Or
Delilah believes that the entity knew the thalamic personification of the ultimate universe has some divine reason for her to be here.
And who are we to dispute that? That's Who are we to dispute that? Indeed.
As part of the great work of Aleister Crowley, she believes that she has had a vision that she needs to be here for some reason.
Oh, perfect. As I say,
it could have been the meth she was on, but she believes it's.
I'm sure that's
could have
not
been.
the case.
No.
But of course, the benefit of your association with the magazine is that, again, if you were to approach Mr. Leibowitz in his smoke-filled, or I should say pipe smoke-filled office at some point and tell him this, he probably looked at you with he was probably impressed and would would quite happily get you a ticket to this event because, as I say, he's quite obsessed with the occult and the supernatural, and so yes, if that's probably how you end up getting paid for this gig. So that's perfect. Okay, so again, you turn up, and again you'll have probably got a yellow cab, and the yellow
I
cab.
drove.
Oh,
I
you
drove.
drove. Okay. In that
I got
case,
a car.
there's definitely valet parking.
I've got my own car.
Yeah,
Wow, you
you've
have
got
got
a
your own
car. I
car.
think you sleep in your car because you're homeless.
That's right. You have got a car. Yeah, indeed.
I have got a car.
Yeah. Great. So you turn up, and again, when you arrive, there's valet parking. I don't know if you've never been to New York, you have no conception of how bad the parking is around there. So, but there's valet parking. So a young urchin of some description who's been scrubbed up for the occasion will take your keys off you and drive your car off to park it somewhere. You hope you'll get it back at some point, but anyway, you're then ushered into the as I say, to the reception or to the lobby of the Empire State, which is again
I'm going to use my advantage, my talent, to tell the valet not to damage my car, but using my hypnotism.
Okay, well why don't we have a go at that then? So so the way it works is you've got on your character sheet then you have got obviously you've got the experience of hypnotist, which means you can see there's one dice there. Now, in most cases, you can decide which one you want to use, but because you're going specifically for your hypnotism specialty or your experience in hypnotism, then you're going to have to use your one dice because although you've got a slightly higher psych skill, because this you've defined that you're using hypnotism, that's what you're going to do.
Don't look into my eyes, look around my eyes.
Now I'm going to set a difficulty of a 4 for this because he's a street kid. He's not particularly experienced in the ways of the world. So if you want to just roll me first of all, roll me a d10. So this system uses d10s. Okay, that's a 9. Perfect. Okay, so you easily bypass his d10, and I'm going to have a look at what he's got. So I'm going to roll a d10 for him because he's got wit. And because you're basically trying to force him to do something potentially against his will, because ultimately you're trying to, you're hypnotizing him. But what I'm going to do is he's going to roll. His difficulty is going to be higher because he's, as I say, he's not as clued up as you are. You got a 4 anyway. So not only did you beat him and he failed, but you also beat him. So you get a significant success, which basically means, you have no problem. He gets a glazed look in his eyes, and he just kind of nods, and he just says, he doesn't speak, but he just nods in a kind of dazed manner, and he gets into the car and drives off. And probably won't remember that conversation happened. Hopefully he'll remember where he parked it, but that's a problem for later. Okay. Great. So you disembark. So right, Jason. So your character is defined as a spy. Now, again, that can mean many things, but you can see here, looking at her background, she's quite an exotic. Has an exotic background, and again, she's in New York. It's really up to you why she would be here. I'll leave that up to you to decide. Again, the umbrella reasoning here is that this magazine. So at some point you've crossed paths with Mr. Leibovitz, and he's probably interviewed or had somebody interview you or has paid you to investigate something, and as such you've been invited. But if there's any other kind of motivation for you to be here, it's up to you. I'm happy to hear it if you've got anything else.
I'm good. I'm on the payroll to dig up some dirt.
Perfect. So again, you looking at your possessions, it doesn't look immediately like you have a car. So I'm assuming you would have just got a cab. Again, most people in New York would arrive by taxi. So again, you turn up, and again, the streets are thronged with press and people pushing to to try and get a glimpse of the hoi polloi as they come into this party, and you end up inside the main reception area of New York, of the Empire State Building, and there's a queue of people waiting to catch one of the express elevators up to the 43rd floor, which is where the party is happening. Just a quick example of the sort of clothing you're likely to be wearing. So men will likely be wearing. Actually, I think you're all women, aren't you? Actually, in this,
We
We
are.
are
You're all women. Okay.
3 lovely ladies in elegant cocktail dresses of the 30s.
Exactly, and I mean, I'm yeah, exactly, exactly right. So, yes, you will like you know, you and the men folk are all dressed up to the nines because again, this party is a big deal, and you all kind of congregate. Now, again, I'll leave it up to you as to whether you've met each other before. Again, you do technically have the connection of the magazine. It may be, it may not be that you've had dealings together, but ultimately you're waiting in the reception at the same time. Again, there's a queue for the elevator, and as you move through the queue, you notice that there are there's a couple of police officers in the lobby. Just obviously they're just to keep order in case they're needed. But they seem pretty. They're not really being tasked much. They're just sort of sitting chat. They're sort of standing around, keeping an eye on the comings and goings. But there's no obvious threat. They're just standing around chatting. And as I say, you're being kind of ushered into the lift. There's a couple of city officials with clipboards, and they're just checking off names as people come to the lifts. And then once they check you off, they say, "Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please board the lift." And you, as your turn arrives, the lift opens up, and there's a friendly-looking older man, an African American gentleman he's obviously the lift operator, and he ushers you in, and you and there's probably about 10 of you in the elevator car at a time, bearing in mind that everyone's wearing big dresses and posh suits. So he gets in a reasonable number of people, and he just says, "Welcome to the Empire State Building. Next up, 43rd floor." And he operates the lift mechanism. You can see that his name is. You can see looking on he has like a name badge on his tunic, and his name is Seymour, and he seems like a very gregarious chap. He's sort of smiling and happy to engage in conversation, but basically the lift flies upwards at a fairly rapid speed. Again, living in New York, you're all pretty familiar with skyscrapers and so on. But again, the Empire State Building at this time is like the bee's knees, basically. So you fly up in the lift up to the 43rd floor, and you exit the lift into a reception area. And again, as soon as the lift door opens, you can hear there's a band playing in the ballroom. You can hear music, and there's a lot of chit chat going on. There's the clinking of glasses. You can see out in the reception, in the sort of lobby area, so where the elevators drop you off. They've set up a temporary bar, and there's several cocktail makers behind the bar, kind of shaking, silver cocktail shakers, and cocktails are being poured, and again there's music playing, and there's a general hubbub. There's also, of course, the smell of cigarette smoke in the air, because of course this is the 1930s, so pretty much everybody, I would imagine, probably is smoking. So the cigarette smoke in the air, but it seems to be a swinging party, shall we say. And if I skip over to the next image to give you an idea, good old Chat-GPT. So as I say, you're in this opulent ballroom up halfway up the Empire State Building. You can't really see out of the windows. Are kind of again, there's obviously a lot of light, and there's drapes on the window, so you can't really see out into the city beyond. But again, it's a real swinging affair, and again, there's a singer, a band playing sort of hits of the day, swing hits of the day, and it all seems very nice. So I'll ask you if you want to what you'd like to do at the party. So you've just arrived at this party. Does anyone have any particular motivation for what they want to do?
Well, I just like to mingle around and see if there's anybody interesting that I can go and talk to. Perhaps get a bit of an
Sure.
interview going.
Okay, yeah. So you can wander around, and again, there's plenty. I take it you've probably got your as it says, you no doubt have your notebook with you, and presumably you might have your, if you've got your camera. I guess
Yeah,
it depends if you've got a clutch bag. I guess your camera's probably just about fit in there. It's
yeah, but I can
obviously
get my machine gun in there, so I've had to leave that at home.
yeah, no problem. So you you can sort of mingle around, and yeah, you're just taking the pulse of the party really to see, and certainly you spot celebrities. In fact, as you're wandering around, you see there's like a like a bit of a group of people, and as you get closer, you see that in the centre of this group of people, there's a chap wearing what seems to be quite anachronistic evening wear. He's wearing he's wearing top a set of tails, bow tie. He's actually got a top hat, and he has a mustache. But you also notice he's wearing a cape, and he's got this cape's got red velvet lining in it. And he seems to be doing some sort of he seems to be doing magic tricks. He's kind of entertaining a group, and there's like a group of men and a group of women around him, and they're all kind of watching as he looks like he's doing card tricks or whatever. You're not sure whether he's part of the entertainment or whether he's just a guest with a flair for the dramatic. And as you watch, a middle-aged gentleman approaches him. This gentleman's kind of slightly balding, but he's quite distinctive looking. He's quite distinguished looking, I should say. He's wearing a more modest suit, but you have a vague feeling that you recognise him. Maybe he's an actor, possibly. And he approaches the gentleman in the top hat and tails and begins to have an argument with him, and has disrupted his act. And the two of them get into quite an argument, and it gets to the point that a couple of the city officials, they seem to sort of discreetly usher them out of the ballroom into the lift lobby, and try and disperse the little group.
I will. I'll ask quickly if any of the bystanders know who those people were. If any of the
yeah, sure. So one of the women turns around to you. She goes, I'm pretty sure that was. I think his name was. Is it Holmes? George Holmes is an actor, I'm sure, but I don't know who the guy in the top hat was. But man, they were getting into it. And anyway, and those two sort of disappear off into the crowd. They've obviously been ushered out. Whether they've been escorted out of the party or not, you're not sure. But you probably jot some notes down in your notebook. That'll make a good headline. And you remember that George Holmes he's an English actor of some sort, and you've vaguely heard of him, but again, you make a note to maybe look into that in more detail.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin, what would you like to do?
Do I see that?
I threw that one in there for you, by the way. So,
well, I was waiting for a bit of red herring. If it's a red herring, I won't be tempted. If it's not a red herring, I will be tempted to follow the guy with the red cape if he's performing magic tricks.
They're just there as set dressing, so they've been escorted out of the party.
Oh,
okay. So, because she has a desire for weakness, is that desire for knowledge, she's going to stand in one corner and cast her gaze around the room, looking for oddities, things that are out of place, or people that look interesting or out of place.
Okay, that's really good. So what I'd like you to do then is I'm going to get you to you have under your attributes on the right hand side, so you have 2 stars in hunch. So hunch is basically your intuition and perception. Okay, yep. So with because you've got 2 dice to roll, I'm going to set it a target of 6. So if you can roll 2d10, and then you get to pick the highest of them, basically. Okay, perfect. So
8.
you rolled an 8, which means you succeed. as I say, when you have more than one dice to roll, you can basically pick the one. And as long as you don't roll a 1 on one of them, which is like a critical failure, then you still succeed because you've rolled 1. So you've made a success with your 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So you look around the room and you notice as you're absent-mindedly looking around the room, you notice that the waiting staff. You notice that there are waiters, for want of a better word, kind of wearing like white. Like typical white jackets with bow ties on, and they're sort of there's a few of these guys sort of wandering around with trays. But what your intuition, what your instinct, they seem out of place. They seem to be. For one thing, they're all of a type. They're all quite tall, and they're all quite stern looking. They certainly don't look like your average waiter. And you're not quite sure what it is about them. There's just something off about them. There's something about them. They seem to be. It's almost like they don't seem very good at waiting. If you see what I mean, they're walking around with these trays, and as you're watching, you notice that a couple have to kind of grab one of these guys to actually take a couple of drinks off his tray. So in other words, he seems distracted. He seems absent-minded, and as I say, two people sort of say, I say you over here, and they have to actually. So rather than him going around offering people drinks and food, nibbles, he has to be sort of reminded to do his job. If you see what I mean.
Okay, have a look at their shoe. Take a note of their shoes to see if they're regular shoes or they're old brown shoes. Almost like they've got the trousers and the tops, but their shoes are really out of place.
Okay. You notice that their shoes actually are actually wearing. I'll use the word dress shoes. I'm sure that's not the right word, but they seem to be that they're well polished, certainly. So they don't seem obviously out of place. It's more to do again because you have a kind of a feel for the unusual. There's just something off about them, and as you watch. You see a couple as they pass. A couple of them sort of nod at each other, and as I say, there's probably as you look around the room, there's probably 10 or more. There are other waiting staff as well who seem more normal, but there just seems to be some of them there seems to be something a bit off about them. You're not quite sure what it is, but
okay. So I'm going to go up to one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go up to
so
one of them.
you sort of go up to him. It's a tall, quite a broad-shouldered fella, and again he's carrying a glass. He's obviously got the cheap. He's got some cheap sort of sparkling wine, I guess. And yeah, he kind of is looking around, and he sort of after a moment he sort of turns around to you and says, he sort of offers that he sort of pretty much shoves the tray at you, if that makes sense. So he offers you a drink from the tray.
So I'm going to look at my wristwatch and say to him, he said, it's going to be another 10 minutes. I hope that's okay.
And he looks at you quizzically, and he says, "All right, you would like drink?" And he's definitely not speaking with an American accent. He's like, "You would like drink? Yes."
No. He said 10 minutes, and then I'm going to walk off.
Okay.
And then stand in one corner and just kind of observe what he does.
Well, he looks confused, and then he carries on his meanderings about the room, and you notice that he again, as he passes one of these another one of these fellas, he just sort of nods. He sort of looks at him, nods at him. They acknowledge each other, but he just carries on wandering. So other than being slightly confused, again, he hasn't done anything obvious in reaction to what you've said, but
right.
You're keeping an eye on him.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So over to Helen Ivanova. So Helen, again, you observed the interplay between those other two who got escorted out, and again, what would you like to do, if anything, in particular?
I would like to go and sit at a bar and Bycraft 101 scan the room to see
Cool.
if anything seems out of place.
Okay, well, exactly. So let's do the same with you then. So again, looking at your experience. So again, I think the obvious thing to use here again is to use your hunch rating, which is 2. So again, if you just roll just roll 2d10, and again target number is going to be a 6 for this, I think. Oof. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, so you succeeded. So although you rolled a 1, because you beat the target, so you only get a critical failure if you fail to achieve a success and you roll a 1. But because you made a success, that's fine. And again, you get the same vibe basically. Again, looking around the room, you just got the feeling. Again, you just see these. You notice the same thing, that these wait staff seem a bit stilted. You've been to many parties in your time, in your career. And there is definitely something a bit off about this. You can't quite put your finger on it. You can, again, your eyes kind of dart around the room, and again, you pick up on these. As I say, there's a group of these waiters, and they're going around and they're carrying trays, but they just seem uncomfortable almost, if that makes sense.
Are any of them talking to each other?
No, you notice that if they pass one another, they acknowledge each other, they nod, but they're not speaking. Well, they don't, as far as you can tell, at least from a distance. And obviously, there's music playing, and there's a general hubbub of conversation. So you can't really hear clearly, but you don't notice them stopping to talk to each other. They just they're obviously working the room a little bit. But again, it's almost like they're waiting for something, and they're not too worried about doing their job, which in itself is a little strange, obviously. So anyway, this carries on, and again, as I say, there's music playing, and as both, in fact, all three of you are looking around the room, your eyes light upon Mayor La Guardia. You see him over to one side of the room. Mayor La Guardia is there, and he's surrounded by his aides, and also you notice there's also a gentleman in a dress police uniform, and I would assume certainly that Danielle, you recognise the man in police uniform as New York's police commissioner. His name's Lewis Valentine. And he's sort of hanging around with La Guardia. I mean, La Guardia is quite a jovial chap. He seems to be having a good time. He's got a drink in his hand, and he's, as I say, he's chatting with some of his staff. And occasionally, you'll notice that some of the guests will kind of approach him and obviously offer congratulations. And depending on how important they are, I would imagine he will either, he'll either engage them in conversation, or he'll just kind of nod and thank them. The police commissioner is looking a little bit bored, to be honest. He's wearing like a dress uniform. He's all done up in his dress uniform. But again, and you also can see, La Guardia seems pretty relaxed. Again, he won the election with a landslide, so seems pretty happy. And other than that, again, as I say, you're looking around the room, you do see the odd minor celebrity. There's actors and the rich and famous, or certainly the rich and powerful in New York, are all hanging around. Okay, so as you're all observing things, suddenly there is a burst of gunfire. You hear a rat-a-tat-tat of automatic weapon fire, and as you watch, all of those waiters, they all throw their trays to the ground, and all of them pull out sidearms and begin firing into the ceiling. And as you would imagine, there is an immediate outcrying of screaming and shouting and general confusion. Any of you looking at Mayor La Guardia see that the police commissioner kind of sort of moves to protect him, stands in front of him. And as I say, as you're looking around, these guys have brandished guns, and they're all kind of shooting. And they obviously, one of them goes over to the band and shouts at them to be quiet. And from the back of the room, you see this gentleman. He kind of walks in to the room, and he seems to have a commanding air about him. He walks into the room, and as the other guys are shooting and basically trying to control the crowd. And they're basically gesturing with weapons and getting people to kind of gather together in groups that they can keep an eye on. And this chap just walks into the room. He's also brandishing a automatic pistol, and he's just walking in between the groups of people as his you assume his subordinates are securing the room. So what would you like to do, if anything, at this point?
Do we think there? We can see how many there are, right? Just in this
there's
room.
about a dozen of them. So you don't know whether there's more of them outside the room, because obviously there's a reception area outside. Certainly in the room there's about a dozen of them, and again they're all carrying sidearms, and as I say, it's like a bank robbery. They're just trying to gather everybody together.
Now, handy about now, wouldn't it?
Can I get one of you to? Can I get one of you to make, or in fact, all of you can make a? Because I think you've all got the same. Oh, actually, so Danielle, you've got 3 in hunch. So your intuition / perception is actually the best of the group. So can I just get you to roll me 3d10, please? And your target number is going to be a 7. Oh, perfect. So you smash that. So you basically, we take the best of those dice, which is the 9. Okay. As you are kind of, so you're kind of gathering your wits, and you're kind of looking around. You listen, and you distinctly hear one of them, one of these guys, say to his group of prisoners that he's trying to herd together. And you can hear him go, "Schnell, schnell," and he calls out in German to them, and again, very distinctive. And he's obviously gathering them together. But as I say, he says "Schnell, schnell" as he waves this weapon at them. And again, this other chap is just walking around surveying surveying the scene. He's clearly in charge of these people. So what I need to know from you is: are you doing anything to draw attention to yourselves at the moment, or are you just going to cooperate for now? You don't want to try to do anything, or? Again, confusion reigns. So
yeah, I'm just gonna not draw attention to myself, but if my dress has pockets, I'll make sure my gun's in my pocket, so I've got hold of it, and get myself to a place where I can see what's going on clearly.
Okay, so you move over.
What floor are we on?
43rd.
44th. Yeah, that one.
Obviously, the Empire State has got 86 floors.
Yeah, that's quite good.
You're on the 43rd floor at the moment. Right. So Danielle kind of moves over towards where the stage is. As I say, the stage has been set up in the room, so you sort of move over that direction, which is like a central space in the room, so it gives you a good view of everything. And again, yes, you're able to. I'm not going to get you to roll to hide your gun, because there's just too much confusion going on. And again, most of the people around you are kind of, without wishing to be sexist, but I think most of the women are probably screaming. Some of the men are kind of arguing with these guys, but they soon subside once they get a pistol sort of shoved in their face. So after a couple of minutes, the room begins to sort of calm down, and there's just like a general kind of, hubbub going on of, obviously people go, what the hell's going on? What do these people want? And, but okay, so back over to the other two. So yeah, you're over there. You've secreted your weapon. What about the rest? What about you two? What would you like to do?
I'm going to make my way to one of the walls where the standpipe system for the firefighting exists.
Okay. Well, I would imagine in 1937, and I'm going to take a punt on this. It's probably just simple, like water, sprinklers, I would imagine.
So it doesn't have sprinklers, but it does have a standpipe system.
Yeah.
And the water.
Okay. So where you can plug a hose in, basically.
It's essentially a hose pipe powered by.
I got you. So. Yeah. So basically, that's where a firefighter can put a hose in to get water. Okay.
So, there will actually be hoses there, but.
Oh yeah, they're okay. Well, let's. Okay, I think for sure. There will be such a thing, because again, it's a ballroom, it's a big space. So yeah, you look around and yeah, you can see that there's essentially it's like a typical firefighting station, right? So like a coiled up hose pipe set into
And
the
an
wall.
An axe.
Is there going to be an axe? I don't know. Let's give it a 50-50 chance. I think a 50-50 chance is fair, isn't it? So we'll say.
What do you want?
Well, say 1 to 5. 1 to 5 there is. 6 to 10 there isn't. Okay, fine. So there is an axe. There is an axe bracketed to the wall near this firefighting station. Okay, so you make your way over to there. That's fine. And then, Helen, what would you like to do?
You
could wiretap, I suppose.
I could wiretap them.
Interesting. Okay.
They don't realise that I speak German, so I'm just.
I was going to say, I don't know if you've. I was just about to bring your attention to that. So you actually speak fluent German.
Yeah.
So that might be very useful to you.
I'm not giving it away yet. I'm gonna
absolutely.
sort of blend in with the rest of the women getting rounded up, but I'm gonna like position myself closer to the assailants so that I can overhear them if they start talking to each other.
Got it. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, very good. So yes, you do exactly that. So you again, you're you slip into the role of the kind of helpless prisoner pretty well. The good thing is looking at your career goals again. That, as I said, about an indication of your kind of personality. So again, she's she's surprisingly altruistic actually. So yeah, you're probably interested in doing the right thing here. So that's fine. So yeah, so you exactly. So you just blend in, and as you say, you let yourself be herded about, and anyway. So as the noise is subsiding, so these guys have now gathered up most of the guests into manageable groups, including the rest of the waiting staff, and they've all been gathered together, and this chap who, as I say, was kind of not swaggering about the room, but he was kind of wandering the room. He walks to the center of the room, and as the sort of the noise has died down and the conversation has died down, and again, all eyes begin to turn to him, and you can see that La Guardia and his men are looking uncomfortable. Now, there's two of these guys have got guns on Mayor La Guardia and the police commissioner and that group as well, because clearly the police commissioner could be a source of trouble. So they're keeping a close eye on him. And as this gentleman walks to the center of the room, you hear a commotion from out in the lobby, from out in where the lift bank is, and another person walks into the room, and it's this lady. And you can see that she's again brandishing a pistol, and she's like shaking her hand as if she's just hit somebody, and she's kind of over dramatically kind of shaking her hand. She sort of swaggers into the room, and he looks to her, and she nods at him. There's a definite nod passes between them.
Do I recognise her?
Okay, well that's interesting. Let me.
Is her name Noma Diva?
No, it's not. But that's a good point. So I'm gonna let's have a little look. So I think if you can give me now, you've got your profession as being a government spy.
Yeah.
If these you can roll a 1. So you can use your experience. So because you've got experience as a government spy, you've got 1 dice in that. I'm going to make it very difficult though, because again the chances. So I'm going to make it a 9. So just roll 1d10. If you can get a 9 or better.
Ooh.
No, so it's okay. It just means that you don't recognise her. However, you're convinced that she looks German. Her bearing looks German. Again, blonde, quite hard-faced. Not unattractive, but she's you get the feeling you wouldn't want to mess with her, but you don't recognise her specifically, other than you recognise the type, shall we say?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyone standing near me by the hose will hear me mutter under my breath, "Damn, space Nazis."
they, but they look at you and do you need to sit down? Okay, so this gentleman in the middle of the room, so he's now surveying the room, and he addresses you can see he says Mayor La Guardia, and La Guardia is like, who the hell are you people? He says, well, Mayor La Guardia, we are nothing but simple thieves, shall we say. We are here to relieve you and your friends of your most prized possessions on this night of celebration for you. And again, there's a distinctive European taint to his accent as he's speaking, but he seems well educated. He's a handsome man. However, you do notice that on his right, so on his left cheek, he does have a distinctive scar, which I suspect Helen certainly would recognise as being the mark of one of Germany's dueling academies. So the aristocratic Germans in the early 20th century.
Oh, they're not doing that weird sword chopping in the face thing.
Well, basically, a lot of the German sort of military academies and the kind of equivalent of our sort of public schools and that. So I think Heidelberg. I think Heidelberg is the most famous. Is that right, Kevin? It's Heidelberg, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Are we
Yeah.
talking about real life right now? I can't. Even tell
Yeah, it's
anymore.
a thing where they.
Yeah, no, they are. So it was a
chopped.
thing that aristocratic Germans would often have scars on their face because they would all basically be in these like dueling academies.
Yeah.
So when they were in the equivalent of Oxford or Cambridge, they would take it to be honourable to basically have a go at each other with swords. They would have like ritualised sword fights.
Oh my God.
And quite often these people would end up. I think the aim was you won basically by marking the cheek of your opponent.
And they couldn't afford face guard things.
Well, it was more a matter of honour. I think that they didn't bother with them.
Showed that you're
Scary.
like brave and honourable if you suck it up.
If you took the wound, then that was considered to be an honourable thing. Stupid if you ask me. But the point being that it's again marks this chap out as a German of some obviously of some breeding, because again this was not a practice that took place in public schools. This in what we would call state schools. This was a aristocratic pursuit, and again the scar is quite distinctive. Anyway, he continues and he says, now my colleagues and I will be coming around with collection, and I wish you all to put your valuables into the bags. If there is no resistance, then we will allow you to go on about your business once we have completed our task. I would urge you, however, not to cause us any trouble. Our aim is simply to relieve you of your valuables and to leave you in peace. Anything other than that will be dealt with harshly. Is that clear for everyone? And everyone muttering and mumbling. And he says, good. Mayor La Guardia, why don't we start with you? And he gestures to one of the other guys who he picks up. He goes behind one of the tables where there was ashtrays and stuff on it. He pulls out like it's for want of a better word, a sack. And he moves over to the group, to La Guardia's group, and the police commissioner kind of, gets in the guy's face a little bit. And this chap just like slaps him with the side of the pistol, and essentially opens the bag and points the pistol at them and gets them to start dropping their wallets and their valuables into it. Okay, so while this is going on, so they're on the face. So these guys are, as I say, they start to go around. Each of their groups, they begin to, again, they all retrieve bags from similar hiding places, and begin to relieve the guests of their valuables. Now you notice that the chap in the middle of the room, the woman who came in late, she walks over to him and she whispers into his, she sort of talks to him, but whispers into his ear. So none of you can hear him, or hear her rather, from this distance. And he looks at her and he nods, and then he follows her back out into the lobby of the where the lifts are, basically. Right. So you're now in the room. So there's 12 of these guys. They are going round, as I say, starting to basically collect valuables from people. So again, I'll go back to the three of you. So what would you like to do? So Kevin, why don't we go to you first? As I sense you have a plan in mind.
Well, up until the point I realised this could be Hans Gruber.
Oh, gee, was it that obvious?
So clearly,
well, it is a Christmas. It is a Christmas adventure. You see, so
it is. So in my mind is racing that this is the stupidest of heists. If they've simply come into a building on the 40th floor to nick jewellery.
Exactly.
So taking a step back from that, is there anything I know? Did I read anything in the papers about the Kohinoor diamond being hosted here, or anything along those lines over the last couple of weeks in the papers?
Right. I want you to. Excellent. That's a really good question. So I want you to make. Let me have a look at your. Let's see what you've got. Okay, you got researcher.
It's either these are the Anunnaki from South America. What year is it?
1937.
1937. Oh, okay. So I could have had run-ins with the Anunnaki in South America, given that I support the research projects within South America. But I think that's too much of a red herring. I think
I think you can. I think you can go with. I think you can. Give me a wit. Give me a wit roll. So that's. That's your kind of smarts basically, and that's you've got 3 dice in that. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a. Let's see. All you need to. I think I'm going to make that a 7. So.
No, that's so 8, 6, and 7.
Okay.
I'll take
67. Bloody hell. Okay, that's cool. Right. So So yes. Okay. So you are. You succeeded. So. Okay. The only thing that occurs to you, so you're absolutely right in what you've said. So this seems to be a very odd. There's definitely easier ways to rob some rich people, right?
Yep.
So the only thing that you know is that so in your in your dealings with the magazine, you have heard rumors of a what's the word I'm looking at? Philanthropist, a philanthropic adventurer who is rumored to have a secret laboratory on the top floor of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
There are rumors about this man and his group of associates essentially traveling the world and getting into situations and helping people. And to your mind, it almost seems as if the government and the press have attempted to suppress this somewhat. However, the rumors are very strong that this person's laboratory / offices are on the top floor of the Empire State Building. Mm-hmm. You also have heard rumors that this person and his group are not in the US at the moment, that they are off somewhere overseas. And as such, if you assume that the superficial, approach of them robbing some rich people is a front, then it's rumored that in this person's laboratory / offices there are advanced devices, also possibly a big amount of money as well, because again this person has access to equipment and to resources that suggest that he's very, very wealthy indeed. But again, this has only been whispered about, and this has only been mentioned in passing. And there's been rumors, and it seems that if somebody witnesses this man and his associates, then they either get bought off or the perpetrators seem to disappear. So again, your interest in mysterious and occult goings on have made your ears prick up at these sort of conversations. But again, that's all you know, really.
In terms of combat, is that
Yeah.
brawn?
Okay, so the way combat works is it really it depends on what you want to do. So obviously you decide how you want to handle it. So if you're going to attack with a weapon, then I think weapon uses knack, because knack is basically your essentially it's your motor skills. So if you're going to shoot somebody with a gun, you're going to use your knack ability because you're having to shoot a gun. If you're using physical attribute, then you would use brawn or physique, unless you've got unless you have an experience level that is more suited. So I don't think any of you have got anything. So again, most of your abilities, I think, are all kind of to do with, they're more useful in information gathering. So I think all of you would use your brawn for hand to hand, and you would use your knack for shooting. So Helen has basically got 1 dice for both. Danielle is better with knack. She's got a 2 dice in knack, 1 in physique or brawn, and then similarly, Delilah's got 1 in physique. But so in other words, you're better off with a gun than you are with hand to hand, which
So how far away am I from the nearest door?
Okay, so we're going to assume if we look back at the, if I go back to the, let me go back to the image of the dining room. So, by the way, do any of you, apart from Kevin, know who I'm talking about, who has his headquarters in the Empire State Building? Does that mean anything to anyone?
Yeah, in
Is
real
this
life.
in real life?
No, in fiction.
No.
No.
Okay, good. We'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
I'll explain later, but I think Kevin knows where I'm coming from. So,
Yep.
Okay. Right. So if you imagine at the back, you see so where this stage is here, so to the right over here, so you see there's the 2 similar looking people dancing. So if you imagine that the door is basically just at the edge of the image where they are. So the stage is basically opposite the door. So Kevin, I'm going to assume if you're looking at that image, I'm going to assume you are to the right and on the far side of the. I could never get this thing to do the old blip, which is quite irritating. But basically, yeah, there you go. So you're sort of over there somewhere, because I'm going to assume that the as you say, the water pipes and that come up through the sort of central core of the building.
So I'm not too far away from the door.
No, you're probably about I don't know what, 15 feet away from the door, something like that.
Right. So the minute I can see that the guys with guns are not actually looking at me, I'm going to do two things.
Right.
I'm going to throw my knife at the chandelier.
Yep.
Aiming to either smash a chunk of it or cut it down or just make some noise with it, and then slip out the door.
Okay, fine. Right. So what I would suggest you're going to do then is you're probably going to aim for the furthest away chandelier.
Yeah.
So what I'd like you to do then is, let me have a look at your character sheet again. So you've got a knack of 2. So you have a knife. So, okay, I'm going to make that an 8 because it's, throwing in, because you're not really a fighter. So throwing a knife at a target. But yeah, it's a pretty big target. So let's make it a 7. I'm going to make it a 7. So again, you've got 2 dice. So roll 2d10. Okay. So what happens is you throw that, so you don't actually hit your target. Actually, okay. Let's see. What would be fun here? I think what would be fun here is if you probably embed the knife in the leg of one of the guys, because again, bearing in mind that they are spread out throughout the room and they've got people clustered in small groups. So you kind of slip your knife out, but obviously because you're trying to throw it without being observed. I mean, again, people around you may see that you've pulled out a knife. But obviously these guys are in, as I say, they've got groups of people and they're kind of passing around this bag. So you kind of throw the knife and it overshoots, but luckily it doesn't hit an innocent person, but it basically sticks in the thigh of one of these guys, and he lets out a piercing Schweinhund, and he sort of spins round with his pistol. But of course, there's a mass of people. and everybody around him is kind of backing away, going, and there's a big hubbub going on as he's.
I'm going to point to the creepy guy that was standing next to me as I back out.
Okay. So this, okay, so that again, so there's mass confusion going on. All the other guys around the room are kind of looking to see what the hell's going on, and there's a rising tide of confusion from people, because again, obviously, only the people in right there would have seen that this guy's got a knife sticking out of his thigh. But again, just the general confusion is like lots of. So the other two of you, again, you may not have seen the actual incident happen, but however, you do. Notice that, of course, there's interest being directed away from you. The interest of everyone is sort of focused on this far side of the room. So, Kevin, do you say you want to try and sneak out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to get you to. So it's basically going to be a knack roll for you because again, it's a physical skill. So you're going to try and sneak. You're just basically going to try and quietly. Slip away from your group. So if you can just give me again 2d10. We'll make it a 6. We'll make it a 6 because there's a lot of confusion going on here. Oh, look at that, 2 6s, perfect. Right. So yes, you you managed to sneak out of the room, and again, as you basically you can certainly get to the door, and you can see that the woman and this guy. Are both they've got the lift operator whose name was, if you remember, was Seymour that you rode up in the lift with, and they've got this guy up against the lift bank. There's two other of their the armed guys are kind of also watching this go on. So they're not looking at the door. They're in the lobby, but they're kind of looking at these other two. And they've got this guy Seymour up against the wall, and the woman is basically has a knife, and she's kind of stroking this chap's chin with her knife. And all the time the other chap is whispering to him, and clearly they're obviously trying to intimidate him. But you can't from where you are, because obviously if you enter the lobby, then the two guys in the lobby will see you. So, but that's what's going on out there. You also, just as passing notice, by the way, the bar staff who were out in the reception area have obviously all been ushered into the hall as well. So the lobby is basically empty apart from these 5 people rather. So the 2 guards, the woman and the guy, and then Seymour, the lift operator, who's, as I say, being leaned on by this woman. Right, so back over to the other 2. So you're back in the room. So what would you like to do at this point? And bearing in mind, with pulp, stupid is not a bad thing, basically. So
Okay, so is it clear to us at the moment what exactly it is that they're trying to do other than fleece everybody for their valuables?
So to you, probably not. Again, so Danielle, you would also be aware. I tell you what, let's make a. Can you give me? You've got actually got hunch of 3. So can you give me?
Yeah.
Roll me 3 dice, right? Because again, your instincts are really good. Cool. Oh, look at that, 2 9s. That's really good. I mean, you only take 1 of the highest, but that's really good. So
yeah.
Okay, so you're thinking about this, and again, like as with our friend Delilah, this makes no sense to you because these people are in an isolated location. So they're literally in the middle of a skyscraper.
Yeah.
And they've gone to all of this trouble, all of this effort to essentially mug a load of rich people. Now, obviously, there are a lot of rich people in this room. But bearing in mind that they're at a party, and this is the 1930s, so people will only have valuables on them that they have. So there's bound to be some expensive necklaces. There's bound to be people with cash, because obviously there's no cards, there's none of that. But of course, at a party like this, they won't. They're not. It doesn't matter if you're, if you're one of the Astors or something, you're not going to be carrying around your fortune on you. So you might have a few $100s in your pocket, but you know what I mean. So again, this smells fishy to you because again, there seems to be a lot of trouble being gone to here for and a lot of risk taken for what seems to be a relatively small reward. But as with Delilah, you're also aware of the rumours of this this individual who is rumoured to be headquartered in the on the top floor of the Empire State Building. Again, hard information is hard to come by, but again, racking your brains, because this is early in the life, because I think the Empire State Building opened, I think it was 1933 that the Empire State Building opened.
Built 3031.
Yeah, and opened in, was it 33 it opened, wasn't it?
I believe it opened in 31.
It opened in 31. Okay, so even though the Empire State Building's been open for a few years, but the Empire State Building is essentially, it's an office building. It's not a it's not a particular, I mean, it's a prestigious address because it's a obviously it's at this point it's the tallest building in New York.
Okay, I'm going to go on, sorry.
But all I was going to say was, but having said that, it's not like that there are, dual repositories. So in other words, that there's nothing really, it's an office, it's a glorified office, it is an office building. So again, this is puzzling you. So the only thing you can think of is that, that there's strong rumours that there's something on the top floor of the Empire State Building that is being kept quiet and that may potentially be valuable, or certainly, there might be something worth stealing. But again, you don't know for sure. It's purely instinct, but again, your reporter's instinct is telling you that there's definitely more to this than what's going on with the with this guy.
In that case, I think that as a reporter, I've seen enough about what's going on in here, so I'm going to see if there's a way that I can get out of the room. Maybe while everybody is stuck in the ballroom, whether or not anything is going on with the criminals upstairs, I might be able to sneak up there and see if I can find out what actually is upstairs.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to come back to you in a second. So let's pop over to Helen. So Helen, is there anything you'd like to do at this point before I move on?
Is there?
You're in the group.
Is there a guard near me with a gun?
Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, so so you've got German, right? So, and again, because you so go on.
I was just gonna try to con the nearest guard into giving me his gun.
Okay, interesting. All right.
I'm just gonna tell him. I'm just gonna say it in German. I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, you there? Give me your gun. I'll watch these guys while you carry on."
Okay, I love it.
I'm gonna pretend. Basically, I'm gonna insinuate that I was an undercover plant as part of the operation.
Ah, okay. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to get you to use. I think, Oys here. Now this has got to be a 9 because obviously it's pretty out there, but let's go with it. So give me 3 dice, 3d10.
Oh, yes. I'll just give you 1. That'll do.
No, keep going. Just for the fun of it. You got a critical success. Oh, and a critical failure. But that's fine. Critical success. Is a 10. Okay. Right. So this is interesting. So right. So you walk over to this guy and he sort of, as you approach, and he's again all the hubbub going on with the thrown knife. And he's kind of he swings around, sort of, angry essentially. And you speak to him in perfect German, and he's clearly taken aback, and he's like, we were not told.
Well, you're not told.
Have on Shear said nothing about there being another agent in place.
It's need to know, buddy. You got go and check out what that commotion is. I'll watch these people here.
Says, yeah, okay. And he gives you his gun because critical success. Yeah, and again, Pulp is all about swinging for the fences. So fine. So he literally hands you over his gun. He pulls out another. He's got like a revolver tucked. He's got like strapped to his ankle. He's got like a 38 revolver. So he pulls out the 38 revolver. And he heads over to the commotion, and he's giving you this automatic pistol. So yeah, that's fine. So yeah, you can. What would you like to do with that bit of luck?
I'm just gonna like slowly make my way towards one of the doors into the hallway. You know, like
Okay,
I'm
so
like I'm surveying, like hustling the crowd about, like checking the crowd in the right place. But I'm secretly like, I'm slyly making my way to a door to get out.
right. Okay. So right, lovely. So you okay. Right, I love that. So yeah, you do that, and the people that you're meant to be guard, or the people that the guy was guarding, are looking very confused at this point because you've sort of taken the gun off him. He's given you the gun with no argument at all, and he's wandered off. Of course, they're looking at you slightly suspiciously, but then you're clearly not pointing the gun at them. You're kind of heading off. So they're like, oh, okay.
While
And-
I'm sort of like making my way over there, like corralling the crowd, I give a couple of the handsome guys a cheeky wink.
I love it. Okay. Right. So as you're doing this, all of a sudden there's another commotion breaks out, and over again, somewhere in the crowd, you hear this voice ring out, and he says, "I've had enough of this. You guys, let them have it." And from over the other side of the room, there's a group of a couple of guys suddenly pull out pistols from inside their jackets. And they begin shooting at the German criminals, and within seconds, it kind of degenerates into this fist fight, this gunfight, where everybody in the room kind of throws themselves to the ground. Literally mass confusion as literally everybody in this room is kind of like ducking for cover, and there's a group of guys.
One of the 5 families turned up to the party by any chance?
Exactly that. Hang on a minute. I've got an image somewhere. I was gonna go with Tommy guns, but that seemed a bit much. But essentially, what's happened is that obviously in and amongst the well-to-do of New York, of course, there are also mixed in there some of the criminal fraternity, and it seems as if some of the mobsters have had enough of being made stupid by these people. So they've literally started a gunfight. So as you're watching, like I say, Mayor, if you were to look, like La Guardia is kind of thrown to the ground by his associates and the police commissioner, and within seconds, there's like literally there's gunfire being exchanged between these two groups of people, and there's mass confusion in the room. So yeah, Kevin, I think now would be maybe a good time for you to get involved in this. What do you think?
So I didn't make it out the door, did I?
You got to the door, and as I say, you were kind of you'd managed to discreetly get to the door, and I think basically the others are all heading your direction. So I think Ivanova was heading for the door. Like I say, she kind of headed away from the group, and again, same with Danielle, right? You were all sort of heading over that way to see what was going on. And as I say, once this breaks out, there's now mass confusion. So the guys, the former waiters, are kind of exchanging gunfire with this group of guys, and there doesn't seem to be much actual like accurate shooting happening. There's just a lot of gunfire going off. People say diving to the ground and screaming again, and there's all this going on.
95, 96% of bullets fired in a high stress shootout miss.
Exactly, and we'll say that 100%. And like you say, this is a big room. And there's lots of confusion because the mobsters are clearly not trying to hit any of the civilians. They're clearly intent on shooting at these other guys, and these other guys are shooting back. But there's lots of damage going on. There's lots of bits of plaster being shot off the wall and that. But essentially, it's just a general free for all and mass confusion happening. So obviously, as you watch, once this gunfire all breaks out. In the lobby, so you're watching where these two have been interrogating or leaning on this lift operator, and you see that the two guards who were in the lobby, of course, they all of a sudden their heads whip around, and you're in the door, you're at the door, but obviously you're clearly not armed, so they kind of swing round and are now looking to see where the gunfire's coming from. And the other two, the woman basically she pulls her. As I said, she was like stroking the face of the lift operator with her knife, and she, hearing all this go off, she kind of shouts out "Scheiße" or something, and she like whacks him with the butt of the knife, and he kind of drops to the ground, and she starts rooting around inside his pockets, inside his jacket. And the other guy shouts at the leader shouts at the two guards, and essentially tells them to get in there and see what the hell's going on. Okay.
So that leaves how many people in the
In the
hallway?
lobby.
In the
Right.
lobby.
So there's basically two people. There's the two guys. There's the leader and the woman, and then there's Seymour, he's been basically whacked with this knife and has like dropped to the ground.
Am I wearing high heels or pumps?
Oof. Well, I'm no fashionista, but looking at Delilah, I'm going to say
we're dressed up. We're at a party.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
heels, because you're all at a swanky party, so you'll definitely be wearing heels for sure.
Right. Whip
Don't
them
tell
off.
me you're going to try and climb the side of the building in your heels.
No,
Actually,
no.
that would be awesome.
Whip those off.
Yeah.
And holding my shoe as a weapon,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a go at the blonde.
Oh, excellent. I love it.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's ballsy.
Ballsy move. Right. Okay. So, So you kind of come into the
Gosh,
room.
darn it.
You come into the
so
lobby.
Unless
Yeah,
I can
go
get
on.
the axe, I'm going for the shoe.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because the axe is back in the room, basically. So,
Yeah.
okay. So you grab your shoe, and I take it, are you going to announce? Because, as I say, they're kind of fussing around this guy. So she's like rooting around in this guy's pockets. But again, the other guy is next to her, but he's like also involved. He's more focused on this than he is. And he's kind of shouting at her to hurry, you assume. Again, they're speaking in German, which I don't believe you speak, but
No.
He's kind of obviously shouting at her to hurry up, basically.
So I have my shoes in both hands.
Yeah.
And I am going to
Attack her
by attempting to ram the stiletto part of my shoes into her ears.
Okay. Now,
Either
normally, okay, you're gonna, yeah, no, okay, well, you're not messing about. Okay, fine. So, normally, the way combat works is you break it down by first of all the range of the weapon, and then by the relevant physique of the person. Now, she has got a much higher physique than you. However, she's unaware.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to let you have a go at. You're basically going to get a free go at her without her being able to do anything because she's not aware of what you're doing. Okay. So right. So you have got, because you're going to use your brawn. So you've only got one dice, which means you basically get one attack in the round, and you are going to the base combat roll is a 5. However, I'm going to lower that down to a 3 because again she's unaware. So first thing is, if you can roll me a d10 and just okay. Well, you've got 2 shoes, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I'll have a go with the other one.
Same.
Okay, fine. So you basically come sort of running across the room at her, and again she's like rooting around in this guy's jacket, and you sort of swing at her with the shoes, and basically what happens is the guy he kind of spins around as you're going to whack her, and he throws his arm out instinctively to block the hit, and your shoes kind of go flying across the room. And as he knocks them away, he kind of swings his pistol round and shoves it in your face and says, "Fraulein, back in the room.
I'm going to
We have work to do. Back away."
flatter my eyelashes and using my hypnosis, saying, "But I'm an innocent. I'm an innocent little girl.
Hypnosis, I love it. Okay,
Please leave me alone."
Right, so you need to make you've got 1 dice in hypnosis.
Oh, does he have a gun? Oh, I'm an innocent little girl. I need a gun to protect me.
Sure, yeah, go for it. So you've got so roll 1d, please, for your hypnosis. Okay, and then he is going to try and resist you. So he has got. Okay, so interesting. He's only got 1 as well. That's interesting.
Yes.
I don't believe it. Love it. Okay, fine. So he rolled a critical failure.
He gives
So
me his gun.
you actually managed to hypnotize him. So I really didn't say that's almost as improbable as talking a henchman out of giving them your gun, but that's perfect. So so he literally glazes over, and he basically offers you his pistol, and
I
next
take
to
the
him,
pistol.
the woman, so this other woman, she sort of looks in disbelief at this. But yeah, you now have a gun. So what would you like to do?
So she just has a knife.
No, she's got a she's got a knife. Yeah.
I'm gonna. So this is pre-Hollywood code, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've been attacked. I think this is totally justified, and I'm gonna say limp, you kraut bitch, and shoot her in the kneecap.
Okay. Right. So that's going to be.
You
Thank
really
you.
don't like her.
Well, she's a Nazi, so it's okay not to
Nazi.
like them. Yeah, bloody Nazi.
It was 35. We're not quite. They're just a bit,
Well,
marchy up
it's
and down.
37. It's 37. But
Okay, so we've heard. No, we haven't. We've had our own problems with our own Nazis in America. At this point, you've got the rise of the American Nazi Party. So there's a bit. We actually aren't. We're a bit more leading towards the Nazis until Pearl Harbor. But moot point. I'm going to shoot her.
okay, so you go to shoot her. So first things first. So you need to because she's okay. So yeah, you get to go. Her physique is higher, but you've got the higher range. So let me just check that. So blah 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 blah. Right, you get to attack first because you've got your weapon's got the higher range, because obviously a pistol's got a range of long, whereas a knife has a range of contact, as it's called.
Yep.
So first thing you do, so roll a d10 for me. The base target. Okay, the gun jams. So you swing the gun around. You say, as you say, you say exactly what you said to her. Point the gun at her, and you go to you pull the trigger and it jams. Now, let's face it, it's probably because it's inferior. If it was a good old American Colt 45,
the safety's on.
Well, that's a good point. It could be. You can't tell. All you know is you go to pull the trigger and it just clicks. And so she is going to attack you with the knife. Because so she sort of you both look at each other and she goes, you have that moment where she realizes what's happened and she then spins the knife at you. So just give me a second.
I know, smash her face in. With a gun next.
So she is going to.
Obviously, the Germans are very, very health and safety orientated. The gun didn't jam; it simply has no bullet in the round
yeah,
chamber.
Exactly. So that's right. They probably don't They don't cover it with a yeah. Right. So she potentially hits you. She rolled a 9, which means she potentially is going to hit you. Right. So. Unfortunately, you can't dodge her because you've only had one dice that you could use for your attack. So what you can do is you can try and dodge out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
However, you're going to have to roll one dice. You're going to have to roll a 10 to dodge. So you can try it first of all. So just roll 1d10. Okay. So you didn't dodge it. And see below.
Stab me in the face. Oh.
Right. So she achieved a significant success, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah. So she gets to choose where she's gonna basically stab you, essentially. Luckily for you, she is gonna. She's simply gonna. She's gonna basically poke you in the arm to get you to drop the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you've got no cover, you haven't got any real protective clothing on. The only thing I guess you've got, you're just wearing normal clothing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Fancy clothing, but it's just normal. So that's a protection of 2, which Okay. So you're just going to take a mind. So basically what she does is she slashes at you with the knife. Again, this is all happening very quickly because of course this is a big surprise, right? And so she sort of instinctively lashes out at you with the knife and she slashes you in the upper arm. It's a flesh wound, but it's painful enough that you basically drop the gun. And she then sort of jabs the knife at you and gestures you back while she basically reaches to go and pick up the gun.
I'm going to hypnotise her.
Okay, you can do that. So because she's making eye contact with you as well because she's trying to keep an eye on you to make sure you don't go for the weapon. So what you need to do then is
I'm simply going to say to her, "Go back in the room."
Right. So you need to roll. Give me a first of all, roll a d10. Oh, okay, that's not great. But then she has to basically, let's see whether she can beat that. Because again, it's an opposed roll. Unfortunately, she's got a better wit than the other guy. So bear with me. I see. No, she beats you. Right. So she's not falling for it. Yeah, she doesn't get, you don't hypnotize her, at least not this time. You can try again. But I'm going to go back to the other guys first of all. So you're in this face off with her. Right, so let's go back outside. So we've got, Danielle. So you've sort of headed for the lobby and you've seen this going on. So you've seen basically the other woman who you vaguely recognize, i.e. from the office of Tales of Menace and Mystery. And she has basically got into it with this other blonde woman.
Yeah.
You notice that the guy is acting very strangely because don't forget she's hypnotized him, which again you may or may not know that she has the ability to hypnotize people. But he doesn't seem to be a threat at this point. But the woman is now brandishing a knife at the other woman.
Okay, in that case, I am going to whip my pistol from my pocket.
Yep.
And see if I can take out the woman where I am.
Okay, cool. So you're going to make you get to make a knack roll, which you've got 2 dice in knack. So if you can give me 2d10s, it's going to be base difficulty is always 5. Oh, critical hit! Look at that. That's a critical failure, but that's okay because as long as you succeed, critical failure doesn't come into play. So you've made a critical hit. So you can do what you can. I mean, you can with that roll, you can shoot the gun out of her hand. You can part her hair. You can do whatever you like, basically. So what would you like to do?
Drop her.
Okay, fine. So you okay, fine. So where do you want to put the bullet?
Just through her neck.
I'm loving it. Bloodthirsty as well. This is very 1930s.
Why not?
There obviously won't be any blood because it's a 1930s. So if this was an adventure serial, there won't be any blood, but that's okay.
Damn it.
Fine. So you pull your pistol up and you just shoot her, and she just clutches at her neck and she drops to the ground, probably dead. The pistol clatters to the ground, and
pick it up.
Yeah, you pick it up. Right. So at this point, also, Helen, you sort of burst into the lobby with your pistol brandished, and then you come on the heels of Danielle, who's just dropped the German woman. And you're sort of come up with it because you've got the pistol that you've taken from those guys, and you're like, what the hell's going on? So what would you like to do?
I guess say we're going up. Ding.
Okay, cool. So basically, you've got she's on the ground. The other guy is just like wandering around aimlessly. So I'm not quite sure. Obviously, our mystical friend Delilah has scrambled his brains somewhat, and he's just wandering around aimlessly. So right, so you've got the Seymour, the lift operator, is kind of slumped on the ground, and he's coming round slightly. So would you want to speak to him, or what do you want to do?
We're going to ask him what they were trying to force him to do.
Okay. Yeah, he comes. You sort of wake him up, and he comes round slightly, and he's groaning, and he says, they wanted the key to the special lift. They wanted the key to the special lift.
All right, well, pony it up then, mate. Please could you give it to us? We're here to help.
And he says, I can't. He trusts me with it. I can't give it up.
Hypnotise him.
I knew that was coming.
Where the special lift goes.
Okay.
Can't we?
Or
Can't I persuade him that it's in his best?
You can try and
interest?
persuade him. Yeah, you can have a go at persuading him because you've got.
the options are persuade him, smash him in the face with a gun, or hypnotize him.
Well, let's go
Let's
with
persuade him
persuasion first because Helen
Yeah.
has got persuasion. You've got 2 dice in persuasion.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to let you use that. So if you would like to give me 2d10, please. First of all. Okay. So you got your highest was a 6.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that he has got a wit of a 1. So he's going to roll a 1 dice.
Oh. Guess he's getting punched in the face then, isn't he?
Okay, so he's like, what are you trying to do, lady? What are you trying to do? I told you I can't betray his trust. And you're like, believe me, betray the trust because the alternative is not worth thinking about because she's just going to punch you in the face. Okay, so do you want to try? So okay, so you've so Kevin, you tried to hypnotize first, right?
Yeah.
Which you couldn't, and then we tried persuading, and that didn't work.
No, I haven't hypnotized him yet. We did
Oh,
the
you haven't?
persuasion first.
Oh, you did persuasion first. Okay, so try hypnotism then. All right, let's try that first.
Yeah, persuasion, hypnotism, smash in the face
You
with
got
a gun.
one dice. You got 1 dice
Oh,
in
fuck's
hypnotism.
sake.
Oh my god.
Fuck yeah.
What you've done is you've hypnotized him to definitely not tell us, even if he gets smashed in the face.
Okay. Right. So Sarah Jane, over to you then.
Oh my god. Can I just
Well, I mean,
ask
you can listen.
quickly?
You can try. Listen, hang on a minute though. You can try and persuade him.
Is that
Just
what
because you
psychic
haven't got,
is?
because you've also got communications persuasion, so you can try and persuade him. So why don't you
Have I?
try?
Okay,
you've
yeah,
got
I'll try and persuade him.
So you've
Why
got
not?
2 dice in persuasion. So if you want to roll me 2d10.
I mean, at least try and persuade him. You're not a green beret. You're
There you
not
go.
gonna start
Critical. Look,
ripping
critical.
fingers
There you
off.
go. You got a critical.
Nice.
You beat him. Okay, fine. So he says, okay, listen, but you have to promise you can't let these Nazi bastards get what's in the room or get what's in the lab. You have to promise me.
Yep, we promise.
Right. So he says,
Oh.
look, he says, help me up. Help me up.
1937. I mean, at this point, isn't everyone saying there's nothing wrong with Nazis?
I think everyone thinks there's something wrong with Nazis, but again, officially, obviously, 1937. There are obviously in your line of work, certainly in your line of work.
I know. I'm just surprised Gary in the lift knows anything about geopolitics.
No, exactly. He doesn't. So but I mean, he knows what Nazis are. But certainly, you know what's been going on in the background, and certainly, again, Danielle would know, talk of what's going on in Europe, and again, Delilah would, again, you've heard rumors of the Nazis looking for artifacts and all sorts of things. And although you're not, openly at war with them at this point, and let's face it, the Americans were late to the party. Just going to say that, but you're certainly none of you are particularly well disposed towards them. So he says, Seymour says, help me up, and so you help him up. And he takes you to where the lifts are, because again the lifts, and again from the room you can just still hear the sounds of gunfire and shouting, and there's a commotion going on in the other room. And he says, look, quick, follow me, and he leads you round the corner from where the lifts are down into a corridor. And he goes to a panel, and he pushes a hidden button, and this like door panel opens, and he pulls out an ornate bronze key, which he puts into a keyhole behind this panel, and with it there's a great whoosh of displaced air, and a lift car obviously appears, and the door opens, and you get into he leads you into this. It's like a circular. So unlike the normal lifts in the Empire State Building, this one is like circular, and it's got padded walls. The walls are all kind of like that kind of First Men in the Moon with the sort of leather. What do you call that, Kevin? The sort of dimpled leather lining. It's like Chesterfield, isn't it? The kind of posh leather padding, but it's kind of. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? That
Yeah,
kind
I
of,
do. Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Oh,
lift
cool.
is basically there's a bench running around the perimeter, which is at sort of sitting height, so you can sort of lean on this bench. And there is as I say, there's padding all around it. And as he closes the door, and there's only one button in the lift. There's no like floors. He just pushes a button, and all of a sudden this lift flies up. You've never felt anything like this. The acceleration on this lift, and this thing literally flies up and if you're not standing, if you're not sitting on the bench, you soon are, because as this thing takes off upwards, the acceleration in it kind of throws you into the wall and onto the seat, so you can understand why it's got padding. And after what seems like an impossibly short time, literally 2 seconds, the lift decelerates again and the door opens, and you end up on the top floor of the Empire State Building. Now, admittedly, this map has got some bits, concealed room and stuff, which again, this was the best image I could find of it. So, for those of you who don't know, this upper floor of the Empire State Building is the headquarters of the global adventurer called Doc Savage. And Doc Savage was a pulp character from the 1930s. Essentially, he's a physical Superman, and he's a mental Superman. And basically, he was trained by his father from birth to be an expert in all the fields. So he's a surgeon. He's a surgeon. He knows like 37 martial arts and all the rest of it. But he was left a vast fortune by his father that was discovered in South America, and essentially fights crime around the world. And he has a group of 5 assistants with him, who are all specialists in their field. But this headquarters is, as I say, on the 86th floor of the Empire State Building. And you've turned up here where the you see there's a circular lift here called the Flea Run, right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Right. So the Flea Run is basically a pneumatic lift, and it runs from his headquarters through the Empire State Building, and it ends up at a warehouse on the waterfront, which is where he keeps his plane. He's got planes and boats and all sorts of cool stuff. And this lift is a special lift track that goes from his headquarters down to the warehouse in a matter of seconds, or less than a minute. So it's like a pneumatic tube lift. So as you come out into this room, and this office is it's very well appointed. It's all done in very tasteful wood. There seems to be bronze motif everywhere. So all of the door fittings are bronze, the light fittings are bronze, but it all looks very expensive. And as you look around, there's elevators, but you notice that the elevators have all got they've all got essentially locks on them. So basically, the penthouse can't be accessed by the normal lifts unless they allow them to come up, if that makes sense. So hence why you assume they were trying to get access from this secret lift, because this is the only way of getting up there without being let in from the top floor. And because they know that these guys are away on an adventure somewhere, then this was the only way to get up here. Okay. Right. So what would you like to do? So you're up here. You're as I say, you're in this area here where the lifts are. And again, I would imagine probably. Danielle is probably taking pictures at this point. You've got a camera, haven't you?
Yep.
So this is a real scoop for you. I'm
going to put my hand on her arm and say, "No, dear, they'll never get published."
Okay. Now, as you are getting your bearings in this room. Now, again, at the moment, as far as you can tell, you're kind of safe up here, because the people on the 43rd floor, 43 floors below, so quite a way down. But also, there's no way of them getting into this room or getting up here without you assume the lift key that Seymour has been entrusted with. Having said that, of course, there is a group of armed men on the 43rd floor currently engaged in a gun battle. So there's that to consider. So what would you like to do? Obviously, I guess you want to have a look around and see what you can find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can we list the first floor, see if we can hear anything going on this floor?
No, it's definitely quiet. There are sort of lights on. There's like low lights. If you look around, in the where you are in the elevators, then there's a you find there's like a light switch, and obviously they've got, like, I'll say emergency lights, but it's got like low power lights on.
Yeah.
So if you flick a switch, then proper lights come up. But again, you can't hear anything on this floor apart from there's the hum of air conditioning, and the hum of machinery in the background. But other than that, there's no sound of any combat or anything happening.
Okay, let's go and explore them.
So you've got an opportunity to have a little bit of a look around. So okay, so where would you like to go? So you're in this area here, where the elevators are. So I mean, if you tell me where you want to go.
I'd like to head towards, as we're looking at it, towards the left, down towards where the laboratory is. Although obviously we wouldn't know what's there, but that's the direction I'd like to go in.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so you head down this direction. What about the rest of you? Do you want to stick together, or do you want to split up?
I want to head. So, do we know whether the secret doors are open, or?
I'm going to assume any secret doors are closed, because otherwise it wouldn't be a very secret door. So at this point, I mean, obviously, if you want to look for secret doors, you can. But I guess at the moment, you're probably just going to wander around and see what you can find.
Okay, so I'm going to head up to the corridor to reception.
Okay, cool. So you head up to reception. So again, there's all very well appointed. You have a glance to the left here, and there's living quarters. So this looks like it's almost like a master bedroom, basically. So again, there's like a bed. There is a mirror. There's obviously clothing, the storage and clothing, and again, the bronze theme is everywhere, basically. Okay, so this guy obviously likes bronze. And in moving into the reception area, you've got a looks like there's a reception table. It's almost like an office, and there's a sofa on the right, and again there's some equipment which you don't recognise. So there's a screen here, which again, bearing in mind this is 1937, you won't have seen a TV. I would imagine.
Yes.
And so this equipment looks odd. It looks more advanced than you're used to. You do recognise that there's a radio, advanced radio set over here, and on the walls there are maps, and there's like a global map, and the global map has quite a few pins in it, which may indicate where they've been in the past. Mm-hmm. And there isn't an obvious telephone. However, there is, as I say, there is a radio set. So if you wanted to call for help, you could try and use the radio for sure. Or else you can carry on exploring. It's up to you what you want to do.
We're quite safe up here, so I'm going to carry on exploring.
Where would you like to go next? And also, sorry, Helen, what would you like to do?
I've followed Danielle.
Okay. So Danielle, where were you heading to?
There's too many armed people about. So I'm,
Well,
okay, so Danielle, you were looking in the living quarters, weren't you?
Yeah, so I was starting off sort of heading over towards the left-hand side. Did you say there's a radio that we could use?
In this reception area, there is a radio set, which again you'd recognise. So number radio 2 there is a TV viewer, which you wouldn't necessarily know what that is, but this is clearly a radio set.
Is this a radio, as in it will broadcast?
Yes, indeed.
So I'd like to make a broadcast just to, or if there's a telephone or anything like that, just to try and get help, because I don't know whether anyone would have been able to communicate with the outside, assuming that the phone line hasn't been cut, of course. If it has, I'll use radio.
I doubt if Yeah, like I say, he doesn't have a telephone as such, but there's a teletype. But let's say you want to use, you can use the radio. So yeah, right. So it's a radio set. So you've got
the message to
sure. So
Stephen.
you've got a knack of two. So do you want to give me 2d10, please?
Hang on.
Okay, 7's good enough.
Cool.
Right, so you turn the radio set on, and there's a bit of a squeal as it kind of warms up. But again, there's clearly a microphone, like a handheld microphone. So you just what would you like to say?
Just to anybody in the area who can contact law enforcement. There on the 43rd floor of the Empire State Building, there is an armed robbery of some sort going on. There are many men armed and dangerous. Backup requested.
Okay, so you are so you send out this message, and there's a pause on the end of the radio, on the end of so you speak in it, and there's a bit of a quiet pause, but then there's a response, and somebody saying,
Better not be German.
no, saying, who is this, and how are you on this channel? Only he uses this channel.
Ooh. I will say who I am. I'll say
Don't give me your real name.
Don't give me your real name.
Don't
Tell me your name, Pike.
Yeah, don't tell me your name, Pike.
Oh, maybe I won't say my name then. Maybe I'll just say he's not here. I don't know whether he's in danger.
Okay, we're sending help. What did you say? The 43rd floor.
43rd floor. Yeah.
Okay, help's on the way, and they're not. I mean, again, you without knowing the background to the fiction, believe me, if somebody puts a call through on Doc Savage's radio channel, they're not messing about. So yeah, he says, okay, assistance is on the way.
Okay.
And he signs off. Okay, so you right. So as you are, whereabouts? So Kevin, where did you say you were going? So you were heading down towards the library, did you say?
Yes.
So you head into the library. So again, all along here, there's trophy cabinets, and again, the place is again very well appointed, as I say. So you move into the as you move into the library area. There's bizarrely there seems to be a lion on a stand. I'm not quite sure why that's there.
There's a mounted lion, an ossified pterodactyl.
So you look around this room with sort of, and you're fascinated because you're thinking, what is this? And you see that, so the pterodactyl, at first glance, it looks like a skeletal bird, but it clearly looks like it doesn't look like anything you've ever seen before. And again, you wouldn't necessarily know this, but I think that's from the was it from the novel The Land of Always Night, which was basically they went to Jurassic Park. I seem to remember. It was basically an island where dinosaurs had survived. So I presume that's where that's from. And again, on the bookcases, there's bookcases around the room, and there are many scientific volumes, reference volumes, literally all around the room. So it is a library, and it's literally a library with books
Any
everywhere.
occult volumes? I'm going to ignore the gun cabinet.
There's bounties.
Necronomicon, that's going in the handbag.
Well, they'll put it this way: if anyone's got the Necronomicon on their bookcase, it's Doc Savage, isn't it? So
yeah.
Okay,
so the weapons cabinet is locked, unlocked.
Okay, so you go to the weapons cabinet, and it is locked. Now it does have a lock on it. Now, I seem to remember one of you's actually got lock picking. I think,
I've got it.
Yeah, I think Helen's got it, and I think also, Helen's definitely got a lockpick set.
I hypnotise the lock. No,
you can't. But you have got it. Like I say, Helen could have a go at cracking the lock. I mean, it's a surprise. It's a bronze lock, but it is a lock. So, yes, you can certainly have a go at picking it if you want, Helen.
Let's do it.
How many dice is it? It's only going to be 1d10 because you've got it's a mechanical skill, so it's going to be a knack. So have a go with 1d10. I'll tell you how you go on.
We should have got Danny to do it. All right.
Now, has Danny got lockpicking as well? You can try it first, and then okay. So
Yeah.
no, that's good. Okay, so right after a bit of fiddling about, you manage to pick the lock, and you open the lock, and inside the lock, inside this cabinet, there is a rack of the most odd-looking firearms that you've ever seen. These are oversized pistols. Again, surprisingly bronze in colour. And inside the rack, there are what look like drum magazines. So like a Thompson machine gun famously has a drum. I believe
Yeah.
if I'm right, there's a image in case you're not familiar. But right, so you know how a Thompson machine gun has like a drum magazine, like so.
Mhm.
So these pistols have all got they've all got similar. They're smaller, but they are drum magazines, which you can see that they click into the pistol.
I mean, Mausers.
Well, they look a bit like Mauser's. These are basically his. So again, breaking the fiction a bit, but he's got he invented like knockout guns. So essentially, they fire they're machine pistols, but they fire tranquilizer bullets. But they've got like a massive rate of fire. So they're like a Gatling gun, but they fire, as I say, they fire tranquilizer bullets. You don't know
leave
that.
Leave those. So we do.
But like I say, you don't know that. You just see these fancy looking pistols with big drum magazines that clip into them.
All right.
Right, now as you're looking around, again, all around the room, as you can see, all around the upper floor, there is windows, and obviously it's night time and it's looking out over the city. Now, Sarah Jane, where did you say you were?
I had just come through reception, so I've just.
You were on the radio, right? So as you're looking out of the room, and as you're looking out of the room, it's a clear night, and as you're looking out of the room, you see a big shadow kind of falls over the window. So as you're looking out, as you're looking out over the city, just absent-mindedly sort of looking out, and as you're watching, there's like a darkness sort of falls over, and you think, "What the hell's that?" And if you look out. You look up and you can see that there is in fact a Zeppelin approaching the top of the Empire State Building.
Mm-hmm.
What month is this? Because we've just had the Hindenburg disaster.
Well, we have just had so I believe that I think it was June 1937 was the Hindenburg. So this is December. However, this Zeppelin or airship is clearly coming in to try and dock, because the Empire State Building actually had a airship mooring point at the top, which I don't believe they ever used in real life. Kevin will correct me, but I don't think they ever actually used it in real life.
Not.
But anyway, so this. Sorry, go on.
So the Hindenburg we know about, but is this? Is it possible to tell which airship it is? Because at this time, the Americans had two funky airships, which also had something like 5 to 6 biplanes attached to them.
This is clearly a German Zeppelin. This has got a swastika on the side of it.
Oh, okay. Can we open the windows?
I beg your pardon?
Can we open the windows?
Can we shoot it with one of those guns?
At this height, you can't. I don't think the windows don't open.
Can we get up to the roof?
You certainly can. Yeah. Let me just have a look at the plan again. So you can see that there is a stairwell.
So, is there a flare? Yeah, is there a flare gun in the weapons?
There isn't. Again, you could probably find one if you were to go looking hard enough. But don't forget, you have also got normal firearms with you as well. Don't forget, you had at least 2 of you have got actual pistols, haven't you?
We've all got guns.
You have all got guns. So what you can do is you can go up the stairwell. So the stairwell leads up, and again, the 86th floor is right at the top. So if I go back to the image of the Empire State Building, just bear with me.
Oh, aren't we in the penthouse?
Yeah, so the 86th floor is right up at the very top. If you zoom in right at where those, because essentially the 86th floor in real life is where the viewing platform is on the Empire State Building. So I've been to the 86th floor of the Empire State Building, but it's actually the outdoor viewing platform. but in the fiction, the 86th floor is Doc Savage's penthouse. So essentially, it's right at the top of the spire, right up there.
Yeah.
And so as you come out of the door, obviously there's quite a bit of wind, even though it's a calm night. You're high enough up that there is still a fair bit of wind. And as you again, this Zeppelin is quite intimidating, as this thing is basically manoeuvring in to clearly trying to dock. And it seems pretty clear to you folks that obviously the plan here. There we go. The plan here obviously was that these guys were going to. This is obviously their means of escape. So the plan was obviously to get access to the 86th floor, and then from there they could seal off any pursuit, and then they could escape via the Zeppelin that's now coming into land.
What do we think? There's no one up here, so what are they doing?
Well, that's a good question. So the thing about the Doc Savage's lab, again, you've not actually been into the laboratory. However, as you've already found, he has advanced weapons in his possession. So those handguns, for one, are, again, these are by his own design. So they're not, these have been designed by him. And again, there's other equipment in the place which may be of interest to the Nazis. Again, or it could be occult relics. You don't know. Again, you don't know specifically what they were looking for, but it seems clear that this is where they were trying to get to. And as the Zeppelin is coming in, so you're on the top here. You see the Zeppelin coming in, and you can see underneath it there are hatches where there are crew members are preparing to basically come down on ropes to moor the Zeppelin to the top of the building. You can also see as the thing is coming closer and closer, you can see that they're obviously armed as well. Now, they haven't seen you at this point. They're focusing on their job. So what would you like to do?
I think, ladies, we should light this thing up.
I think we should.
Okay.
Aim for the gas bags.
It's hard to miss the gas bags.
Gas bag, isn't it?
It's one big gas bag. Right. So what are you going to? So are you just going to start shooting at it then?
Yeah. Start shooting at it. Bang, bang,
Brilliant.
bang, bang.
We can't hypnotise it.
No.
Are any of you using?
I'm using one of Doctor Strange's special weapons.
Could be Doctor Strange. That's even cooler. Right. So you point this thing up, and you sort of look at it, and you because again it looks like a pistol. Clearly, is a pistol. You look at it, and you pull the trigger, and this thing goes like. And I mean, it nearly jumps out of your hand because it lets off a massive flurry of projectiles go shooting off. This thing is literally like as I say, it's like a Gatling gun in a pistol form, and it makes a terrifying noise. It's almost it's like shrieking as it's firing, and up above you can suddenly see the panicked looks on the crew of the Zeppelin as these bullets start flying up toward. And again, you're scoring hit after hit on it. Now again, because these are basically that gun fires, as I say, tranquilizer bullets. So it's not actually igniting anything because it's punching holes in the skin of the Zeppelin, and they begin to return fire from that. A couple of them from the hatches begin to start shooting back at you. So again, the rest of you, those of you who've just got normal pistols, you can start firing. I'm not going to make you roll for it because you can't really miss it, honestly.
But obviously, this thing's it has a steel subframe, so you're kind of aiming to get some spark off a bit of metal.
I mean, you can just open up on it. Yeah, you can just open up on it.
Bang, 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 bang.
Okay, so you just open up on it, and you can hear bullets kind of spanging and they're penetrating because obviously the outer hull is just fabric basically. And you can basically the Zeppelin starts to move away because they've clearly called up to whoever's flying the thing and said, get the hell out of here, because they know what happens if one of those bullets ignites the gas, then that thing's going to go up. As I say, the Hindenburg is fresh in everybody's mind at this point. Okay, so I'll give you one more go. I'm going to get all of you to make a knack roll. Let's see whether any of you can ignite it. So if you can, I'll start with. Let's start with Jason.
My
If you want to
knack.
go first.
See knack.
So use knack. It's knack you want to use. So how many dice have you got in knack?
Just one for me.
Okay, so just give me a roll. Okay, and then Kevin, same again.
I got 2.
Yeah, so give me 2
1,
dice.
2.
Okay, and then Sarah Jane, give me one as well.
Yep, I've got 2 as well.
Go for it. Oh, Sarah Jane, right. So you got the highest. You got the highest. So again, all three of you are shooting at this thing, and you shoot with your pistol, and I think it's going to be the last round that you shoot. Then all of a sudden, you can see like a flash inside the hull, and it basically bursts into flame at the tail end, and this thing begins to veer away out across where are we?
Hudson.
We're in here we are. So there's the Empire State. Yeah, so it basically veers, it's like heading out towards the Hudson River. And as it passes out over the Hudson River, you can see the fire takes more of a hold, and then this thing just explodes with a massive a massive explosion. Fortunately, it's over the river, and so there's debris falling, but it's all falling into the river. And as the smoke billowing in your face is being carried on the wind from this explosion, and it becomes eerily quiet. But then you hear you can hear far below the kind of sound of police sirens converging on the building. Again, this thing, the Zeppelin has basically plunged into the Hudson River. And as I say, there's a massive pool of smoke around the building. But you've managed to thwart the robbery and reminded people why Zeppelins are not a particularly good idea at any point. And there's the pulp magazine cover that I made up for this, which again is a little tribute to a game that we played many years ago, Kevin and I. So anyway, that's about it, really, guys. It was just meant to be a bit of a riff on Die Hard, obviously, pretty clearly.
I love it.
And as I say, what's that? Sorry,
we should have gone in the air vents.
Yeah, could have gone in the air vents.
should have climbed up from the middle to the top through the air vents.
So yeah, I mean, just as I say, I'll be brutally honest. Again, the concept was one that was flying around for me, because I like the idea of say Die Hard in the pulp era occurred to me, and then the whole idea of being Doc Savage's headquarters. Again, I appreciate you might not know Doc Savage, but the idea of it being in Doc Savage's headquarters so instead of it being the vault in Nakatomi that they were trying to break into, it's Doc Savage's headquarters. The idea is that somewhere in his lab he basically invented a death ray, or essentially a laser cannon, and that is essentially what they were trying to steal to mount on the Zeppelin in preparation for war. But again, because of your your great actions below, they never got as far as, because again the point was that Seymour was the only person with the access to the penthouse, and that's why they were masquerading as this party, was to get access to him and to get into the building. And again, the plan was that they would then escape from the 86th floor via the Zeppelin, carrying away whatever technological treasures they could find from Doc Savage's headquarters. So in conclusion, then, I think we can say happens then. So obviously the police will arrive. Basically the German criminals will soon realize they are outnumbered and will surrender. And once things have calmed down, you can return to the party, and again, as things are cleared up and the police commissioner kind of investigates, it'll be a long night as things are worked out. But essentially, you will end up being thanked by Mayor La Guardia for your part in raising the alarm and getting rid of these criminals. Now, and also, of course, any attempts that you make to kind of report on any of this in public, though, will be mysteriously suppressed. So even when you go to your editor at Menace and Mystery, he will take your stories and he will take them, but they will never see print because Doc Savage has a lot of people who owe him a lot of favors, essentially, and he also has a lot of money. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really, guys. I just wanted to do something tonight that was a bit different from our usual. I'm not 100% sold on the system. I mean, it was better than I thought, I'll be honest. But again, I like the pulp era. Again, we've used other systems for it before. But yeah, I hope that was a bit of fun for you. Again, nothing too serious, and
Yeah.
Laugh.
all good fun.
Yeah.
So